Hi YouTube, this is D4R with another video. Today I'm going to show you how to remove and replace the starter on a 2000 Toyota Sienna. Let's get started. The starter on your Sienna is located right there. Always remember, safety first. Take off the battery terminal. In order to remove it, we're going to have to remove two bolts. This bolt here and another bolt in the back on this side. One word of advice on these, I'm using a breaker bar just because if I have to crank too hard with a smaller wrench, I'm going to risk damaging my transmission dipstick right here. So using the breaker bar gives me more leverage to crack that bolt off, which is on there pretty good. Using our 14mm socket wrench, let's get to work on that first bolt. Here's the starter I bought at Oreilly Auto Parts. It's a remanufactured model for about 120 bucks. I bought it because it has a limited lifetime warranty, so if it breaks or otherwise fails, I can go down to Oreilly's anywhere in the country and get a replacement for free. Something you might want to consider before purchasing parts online. The only prep I would do before installing your starter is to remove this nut from your solenoid terminal. It's really hard to put on once it's already on it. You have to take it on, take it off. It's better just take it off right now. Now the fun part, putting the starter back on the engine. Sort of feels like putting a 10-pound ham in a 5-pound bag. Now let's get that starter mounted in. There it is. Make sure this first bolt mount is flush with the transmission body, as shown here. With your starter on loosely, hand thread your screws. If you fit the starter on too snugly and the holes aren't lined up, it'll be impossible to thread your screws. While it's loose, it's a lot easier. Start on the front because it's easier to access. The back screw hole right here and the starter and this bar have to all be connected. So get your screw through this bar and then thread it through the starter and then thread it onto the transmission body. So now you'll see the black bracket threaded before the starter, and then you see the starter, and then you can't really see the body of the transmission hidden by the shadow. But that's how you're supposed to set it up, and right now it's hand threaded on. I'm going to continue to hand thread the screws until my starter is lined up right. Our next step in the process is attaching the positive battery cable terminal to the back of the starter on the starter solenoid. Using this nut we got from the other starter, which is actually better quality, I'm going to attach the cable to the back of the starter. Use your 12mm socket to tighten down the terminal to the starter solenoid. Now I'm going to tighten the bolt onto my starter solenoid. Once you get it on tight, make sure to put the rubber boot back on it as well. And you'll feel it, it'll sit right on it nice and snug. Once you've checked to see that your starter is sitting flush and that you can get it right up against the transmission body, it's time to do our final tightening of both bolts. Now get out your ratchet and really crank it on tight. Okay, mine's on there pretty good. Now let's tighten that back bolt. The back screw on your starter is really buried, so I used a smaller wrench with a 14mm socket end, and I used an extender, and it's my smallest wrench, so that I could really get back there. You're working in really tight quarters, and you need this to kind of get an angle on it so you can tighten it or loosen it, because it's really hard to get to with that bracket in the way. And our last step is we need to connect this ignition cable, which comes from your ignition key inside the car, to the starter. So let's plug it back in. It's simple. And when you hear the click, you know it's in. Let's reattach our battery cable. Of course, any good car repair is going to look for any damage he might have caused while repairing a part. I'm just going to do a quick look. I'm looking for leaks. I'm looking for any broken plastic. I'm looking for anything that I may have undone or touched or unclipped. Oh, I found something. This needs to be reclipped. Looks like one of my throttle cables. Looks okay. When you're working on your starter, your alternator, your battery, trying to restart the car is sometimes called the moment of truth. Here we go. Wish me luck. Success! That was the hardest start I've ever heard for this van since I bought it. Awesome. Hope this video helps getting your ride back on the road. Have a great day. Bye now.